Welcome to Differentiated Instruction, the final project for ED 512 at Arcadia University by Samantha Simpson. I am first going to speak about some different theories and ideas about differentiated instruction. To start off, I have pulled two quotations from Matamoros that highlight some especially valuable takeaways of differentiated instruction. There is no single best way to teach a group of students, and teachers consider it their responsibility as educators to modify elements of their course to accommodate students' diversity. Here, Matamoros is highlighting the importance of recognizing, valuing, and implementing student diversity into the classroom to give all students access to a meaningful education. Our second quote, "Teachers make the same course content available in several different modes, provide a variety of activities and tools for students to engage with the content and develop their understanding of it, and offer students choices for demonstrating their mastery of the material." Here, Matamoros is stressing the importance of offering multiple points of access to the content, process, and products of education, elements we will explore more in depth shortly. By offering options, the teacher can engage more students on a much more personal and meaningful level. Differentiated instruction is still a fairly new concept, and as such, great amounts of research are not readily available. Here, however, Matamoros summarizes the results of using differentiated instruction at the collegiate level. As you can tell, it has had pretty considerable results. Accommodating academic diversity and meeting the needs of all learners requires movement away from one-size-fits-all instruction. In many realms of education, we see stressed the importance of abandoning one-size-fits-all instruction. It is fairly agreed upon that people are different and therefore carry with them different strengths and weaknesses. Differentiated instruction, with its aforementioned concern for offering diversity in curriculum, naturally allows for these strengths and weaknesses to be addressed. In this next quote, Bannister stresses the importance of an education that truly believes in its students and does not shortchange their potential. It also attacks traditional multicultural education as a kind of well-meaning but ultimately useless frill. Bannister argues that differentiated instruction, with its intense focus on what each individual student brings to the proverbial and literal table, is ultimately better suited to serve the needs of students from non-dominant cultures. Tatum expands on this idea of honoring diversity by reporting the 9 categories educators need to be aware of, which include gender, ethnicity, language, race, socioeconomic status, and exceptionalities. With a purposeful awareness of the elements that go into shaping individuals and their worldviews, we as educators can learn how to teach them in the way they need to be taught. This next section concerns modifying general education curriculum. Here, you see a cute little image of a book, a piano, and a paint palette growing from the same seeds. This image may not seem that important at first glance, but in reality, it offers a terrific viewpoint into differentiated curriculum. In differentiated instruction, students can study the same material or seeds and express their understandings of what they have learned in wildly different but equally important ways. One way to modify curriculum is to respect the multiple intelligences. Gardner says that these differences challenge an educational system that assumes that everyone can learn the same materials in the same way, and that a uniform, universal measure suffices to test students' learning. Howard Gardner developed his theory of multiple intelligences at Harvard University in the 1980s, and it helped pave the way for the integration of differentiated instruction, as it plainly displays how differently we all absorb information and interact with the world around us. In differentiated instruction, the learning process is divided into 3 distinct parts: content, skills and concepts; process, making sense of those concepts; and products, making meaning from all of it. Each of these can be modified to best suit the individual needs of each student. An essential component to differentiated instruction is getting to know your student In order to teach in a productive and authentic way, you must know where your students come from, including any cultural differences they might have, what kind of learner they are, including any exceptionalities they might possess, and finally, what they are interested in, what makes them tick. Knowing about each one of these categories is a teacher's best defense in planning an effective education for his or her students. The next component of differentiated instruction we will explore is the inclusion of elements of universal design for learning. Universal design was originally an architectural concept based on the idea of intentionally designing buildings to be accessible by all. This intentional design is much more effective and time-saving than retrofitting existing structures. Universal design for learning is the exact same concept. A teacher can save valuable time and energy while creating a more effective lesson plan by designing it right from the start. I have come across this cartoon several times in my education studies, and each time it strikes me as a brilliant and clever way to address why differentiated instruction, and specifically UDL, is so important. Not everyone can climb the tree, or get up the steps, or process the math problems from the textbook only. But that does not mean that people who need a different path are any less. They're just different. Next, we will address modifying behavior and teaching social skills. A personal favorite behavior modification device is the magic 5-to-1, where for every one comment which is negative or critical in some manner, the teacher will work to deliver 5 comments that are positive or praising, even if those comments are as simple as thanking a student for holding a door open. By creating an environment that is heavily slanted to the positive, a teacher can show students that he or she truly cares, which in turn makes that student feel safe and open to learning. Aspects of modifying behavior also include reinforcement systems and token economies, where students know they will be rewarded if they demonstrate positive behaviors and eliminate destructive ones. In reinforcement systems, students collect tickets or tokens for demonstrating good behaviors and/or avoiding negative ones. The teacher will usually have a board that displays the number of tickets needed to collect each reward. Common rewards include listening to music in class, homework passes, small candy bars, movie nights, but these systems are created by the teacher and thus can include anything you like and anything you feel would best serve your students. It is also important in differentiated instruction to explicitly teach social skills, and also to get to know the differences between social skills across cultures and socioeconomic backgrounds. It is especially important to keep in mind that something as simple as eye contact is interpreted as confidence, engagement, or as a threat, depending upon which culture and background is being addressed. Diving back into differentiating content, learning contracts are an important component of differentiated instruction. With a learning contract, students know without a doubt what is expected of them, and it provides for much greater student involvement as it allows for a true sense of ownership over one's learning. Here I have a quote from Tomlinson about the basic assumption of learning contracts. Given the expectation that they will do responsible and effective work and be provided the necessary structures to support that work, students will rise to their challenge and enjoy a greater degree of freedom in their use of class time. Differentiating based on readiness can include using apps, peer tutoring, small group instruction, and think, pair, shares, amongst many other activities. Differentiating based on interests can include such activities as jigsawing, independent studies, creative maker spaces, and journaling. Differentiated instruction based on learning profile can include choice of working arrangements, role-playing, as well as analytical, practical, and/or creative prompts and tasks. One of the most common methods of differentiation is that of differentiating products. This can also be one of the most fun parts. Harkening back to earlier concepts, this is how students show how they learn, what intelligences they possess, what excites them, and what makes them tick. The options for differentiating products are endless. Instead of a final paper, a student could submit a scene from a play he or she created, a song, a computer game, a wiki page, or even an interpretive dance. Products are where true engagement and excitement can be found, but only if the teacher prepares for this meaningful expression of learning. Thank you so much for watching my presentation on differentiated instruction.